Alright, welcome back to another market review. So, be going through quickly today's price action. So, this week was a break-even week for me. It should have been, I think, a 1 hour week for me because I missed a winning trade on Monday. But nonetheless, break-even week is not terrible. So, be going over today. I did take a trade. It was a break even as well. I also missed a trade, but ended up being lost, so that was lucky. So I'll be going through the reasoning. So, as we know, we have hit a lot of liquidity on this daily chart. So I was expecting at some point a retracement, and now we have this daily fair value gap right here. So I would like to see kind of a move from external range liquidity back to internal range liquidity in the form of this fair value gap. We also have this previous month low SMT intact, and it seems like we could get a change in state of delivery, which would mean that we'd look for higher prices. But yeah, just as of right now, probably more leaning towards a short-term retracement play into this fair value gap. If we go to the 6-hour chart, we still have this previous week low SMT intact. ES and NQ closed below previous week low, but YM never closed below previous week low, it just wicked it out. So this is a body to body SMT. So this is kind of what I was framing my long setup today on. On the 90-minute chart, before the session opened, there wasn't a previous day low SMT. Only later in the session there was a previous day high SMT, but at the start, no previous day low SMT. So I'm just using this previous week low SMT as a reference for higher prices. I have the journal for today. On the 15-minute chart, there was no previous session high SMT, no previous session low. No previous session low because none of the assets got to previous session low, but also no previous session high because all the assets closed above it, invalidating the previous session high SMT. So going into 9:30, I want to see 9:30 open, and right at the 9:30 candle, we got a 5-minute SMT, which is this. We took out the previous 90-minute low on NQ, but failed to on ES and also YM. And then we had this nice change in the state of delivery. And this is when I entered, and this line here, where I was targeting for around 2R, that is the daily fair value gap. One thing to keep in mind is that my stop loss was 156 points, which is huge. So my target was 311 points, but already, like, the day had already moved since, midnight. It had already moved, like, how much? 450 points. So I'm expecting, so it's kind of like asking a lot of the market. I was asking for a 750 point move. So I knew that, seemed a little bit far-fetched. I couldn't enter on my funded account because the stop loss was too big for me to risk one micro. So I entered, and then we had this push higher, and I brought stops to break even right around here, and I just wanted to see price kind of like continuously show strength, which it then kind of like crashed down, and it stopped me out at break even, and then kind of just danced around, and then around here, right where I have this change in the state of delivery sign annotated, YM took out previous day high. So if we go here, we can see that YM took out previous day high, and NQ and ES did not. And then we got, on top of that, a 5-minute SMT here on the highs. And then a change in the state of delivery here. So this was another valid setup. This is kind of like a new narrative forming. So on the 90-minute, we had that previous day high SMT, so we could see price like continue lower from here. So I was waiting for a change in state of delivery, and I kind of missed this entry because at the start I was looking for the candle to engulf this one, this upwards candle, but I didn't realize that the valid one was this small one, even though it's small. But by the time I realized that, the second this candle opened, it shot down and ran away from me. So I just decided to stay out. But price did end up reversing, and the position would have been a loss. So yeah, so that's a bit fortunate. But next time these things happen, I need to enter on these small candles, because I was just feeling a bit like, I don't know, I just thought this entry was a little bit too small of a change in state of delivery, so I was just like, I'd prefer if it engulfed this candle. But the fact of the matter is, the strategy's entry criteria is mechanical, so I should be entering on this one. So yeah, that's about it. Even if I was still holding this long position from the start, when it got to around here, we hit previous day high on YM, which was the target, so I would have had stops to break even, and then it would have stopped me out break even either way. So yeah, not too bad of a day. And so this week, yeah, the only bad thing was missing that 2-hour trade, which was annoying, but I wrote it here on my weekly review. Things to focus on going into next week is, of course, being at my desk at least 50 minutes before market open or before the news release that I need to be paying attention to. And also I have to start journaling pre-market, which would be good. And then also another thing to improve is entering off small changes in state of deliveries are still just as valid as other entries. So yeah, that's kind of my take. This week was, overall the analysis for this week was pretty good and spot on. I just, missed a trade from, human error, just my own fault. But then the rest of the week, the analysis was pretty good. I just couldn't get really anything out of it. But yeah, so as price is grinding higher, it's getting closer and closer to that daily fair value gap, and then I'll be interested to see what price does after it hits into this level. So yeah, that's about it, and I'll be back Monday. See ya.